iPhone Air or waits for iPhone Air second generation. What is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and let's discuss that very thing here. Now, the iPhone Air is the original super thin version here, but we might actually see a second iteration of this phone, not likely coming in the next couple of months, but maybe towards the spring of 2027. So a lot of this video is going to be based on rumors and speculation. So if you're not into rumors and speculation, you could just go watch a different video if you want to like a thorough in-depth review of this. But a lot of times these things that start to pile up, a lot of them do tend to come true. Not maybe all of them. And honestly, I personally think that we might not even see a second generation Air, but if it's already been in development, it's likely still going to get pushed through. But I don't know if this series will last super long. We'll see how this pipeline goes with the Air series, kind of like the Plus. The Plus didn't last, so we'll see what happens with this story on the iPhone Air. But I want to talk about the very first one. That's going to matter, and that's going to be the criticisms with the camera. The single camera here on a phone in 2025 and 6 with this one, and it hasn't been a big deal for the actual Air phone owners. I feel like a lot of people who have this still love the phone because they bought it well knowing that going into this what they were going to get. And typically, you know, it does everything pretty good as well. 4K 60, it does really good front facing camera, just like you'll find on, you know, the other iPhones. So that's not really the biggest deal in the world. But the deal is with the iPhone Air 2 is that you're likely going to see probably the same camera island up here with just an extra camera right there, right next to it, which would make for a pretty easy update, I would say, and giving you the ultra wide camera that is limited and not available for this one right here. Now, the second thing is the iPhone Air definitely has been criticized for its 3149 milliamp hour battery. So if you are looking for a bit better battery life where you don't have to throw on low power mode as frequently, and you can see I have this big widget on the iPhone Air because I had to throw this on quite a bit to get the kind of battery life I like on an iPhone. But if you're looking for a larger battery, I do think we're going to see something like 3500 milliamp hour, which should drastically increase the battery life for the next version of the Air. That could come with a slight thickness increase, but probably not a huge one, which will retain its thinness, lightness, form factor, but give you a longer lasting battery. So those two alone, and yes, I'm using the classic SE for that camera sample, but those two alone will probably make the whole entire Air experience much more compelling. Now, the next thing is I think they could potentially bring a vapor chamber cooling system to this phone, because this phone definitely, while it doesn't get super warm or anything like that, it's pretty efficient. The issue is that there's not a lot of area to disperse heat, and if you are pushing it with a game, you will feel it get a little bit toasty. It specifically gets toasty when playing, I would say, more graphically demanding games, but up in like this area where obviously the components are, you feel it quite a bit. Also during setup, long software updates, you will feel some heat that you just don't simply feel in the same fashion on a Pro. So I do think we will see that on the next version, maybe a little bit of a vapor chamber, a little bit more of better cooling on the next version. That is something that is, I think, in the pipeline for this one for sure. Now, it's going to launch with iOS 27 if they do launch one, because it's going to be like during the iOS 27 launch phase. It also should be pretty smooth because the version iOS 27 will be coming out in September, and then we'll have multiple versions and updates over it. So by the time spring rolls around, the iOS 27 will run very smooth on the next version. Not that the Air right now doesn't already run smooth, but if you're looking forward to a very like well performing software right out the gate, the phones that are coming in September likely will need some updates, as the official version, you know, isn't always top level. They still got to iron out some bugs as actual, like, everyone starts using it. So it's a good time to pick up the second version, I think, in the spring. So if we do see this in spring, and again, this is all speculation, we could actually see the Air make an appearance in September, but it's a very, very slim expectation, very, very slim based on everything we've been seeing so far. Rumors pointing to the fold version, you know, of the iPhone looming on the horizon. So For sure, you know, the iPhone Air does have its place right now, but I think we are looking forward to another update. Now, the next one is going to be that this phone probably is going to get better connectivity stuff. So when I talk about better connectivity, I mean things like better Wi-Fi performance, better 5G. You know, we already have eSIM on here, so that's not an issue. There's going to be obviously no SIM card. We're done with that for iPhone for years. But I do think we're going to see faster Wi-Fi and 5G performance on the next phone. That's something they've been improving for sure. And then obviously the Apple A19 Pro, we're going to go up to a 2nm process chip in the A20 Pro. We probably will still see the same 12 gigs. I don't think we need a 16 gig RAM update on an iPhone Air based on the way this phone is going to be used for the most part. And I still think this one is going to be a bit behind the pros in terms of the type of performance you're going to get out of this phone. So you got to expect when you're getting in this thin package to not get iPhone Pro Max type performance. And I think that's going to remain very much the same on the next one. But the A20 chip should be a pretty big performer for this device. I also thought it was pretty impressive that the iPhone Air right now with the A19 Pro chip already has this type of performance. It's pretty darn good for how thin and light this phone is. It's pretty phenomenal actually. So I'm looking forward to see where they go with the next version of this device right here with the Air 2 in that respect. Now, display-wise, I don't think we're going to see any changes. I don't even think it's going to get thinner bezels. We might see the dynamic island make a change comparatively to this one. It might shrink down a bit, but I think the actual display structure is going to be exactly the same bezels, 6.5. And one of the things about this is a lot of people thought this was a little bit too big, but I think it's a sweet spot for those of you who missed the older Max iPhones. For sure, it does line up pretty good if you enjoyed those phones of the past. I also think it reminds me a lot of the iPad Pro M4, M5 because super thin, has that black chassis just like those space gray versions of the iPad Pro series. So I would say don't expect a massive change in design in terms of the display. They're probably going to keep that exactly the same. Now, one of the realities that has been kind of hitting us with the tech game, and not just the tech game, but for sure is going to be the price increase. With a second camera, with a bigger battery, and with Apple already raising prices on other products, I do think it's going to go up a bit. I think it's going to be not massive, but it's going to be enough where you'll feel it. So iPhone Air probably going up $100 on the next version. There is a chance it stays the same due to the lack of popularity with this one by comparison to the Pros. But I still see it. I still see a slight price increase. I just think it's going to happen. So I would say if you want a cheaper iPhone, now's the time to get one. They haven't really raised all the prices just yet on all these iPhones, but you're going to get more. So you're probably going to pay a bit more. That's just what I think is going to happen here for sure with this one. Now, the phone itself also shouldn't get incredibly different in terms of brightness. I think the display is going to be about the same brightness levels. I also think we're going to retain the same single speaker. I don't see anything happening for a dual speaker setup. That doesn't seem to be a major complaint amongst a lot of people. There might be a change when it comes to camera control. That might get a little bit less, like all those extra features in camera control. I'm not sure they're going to keep that around, as camera control hasn't been one of the hottest things. The advancements to the AI is definitely going to be felt on the new iPhone Air. But you can see when we look at the whole package, the majority of everything that actually irritated us about this original Air right here, which for Air users isn't that much, but there are a few things that we wanted. I think this second version solves it. So I think the second version with the faster, or not the faster, the second camera, the better battery life, maybe the reduction in dynamic island, and even having a faster chip, better cooling. I mean, it basically it sounds like it's going to solve all the complaints with the Air 1. So if it wasn't even called the Air 1, the Air. If they do that, I still think that it's going to be a hard sell, and not just because of the improvements. It's just because I feel like people are always going to gravitate to the larger battery. And even at 11% increase or so, we still are going to see better battery life, and we're still going to see the Pro as the top of the line. And that's just something you can't outdo with the airline. So I don't know how long this line's gonna last, but I would say if you're looking for a second camera, you're looking for a longer battery, and you're not down with what the original Air offered, and it was just because of a few things, the weight is definitely worth it. But if that stuff doesn't really matter to you, you've been eyeballing the Air, you want a really sleek, light device, and you want a very sleek, light device, and you want it now, the iPhone Air, you don't have to overlook it now. It already performs incredibly well. It lasts a full day on battery, provided you're monitoring what you're doing. It's a little bit more monitoring than a Pro, but it's fine right now. So you don't have to wait if those extra things that annoy some people don't annoy you. That's how I look at it right now. So that's my update on the iPhone Air as of the end of July of 2026. Let me know your thoughts on the iPhone Air. Are you excited for the future of this series? Do you want it to go away and then to come back to the Plus or something, maybe a mini or something else in this like extra category? I feel like this is that third iPhone that isn't the most popular, that third category. We have like the base and the max, and then there's always like the Plus or the Air or the mini or something in that category that doesn't get as much attention, and this is the current one holding that spot. So let me know your thoughts on where they should probably go with that line down below in the comments. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you all in the next episode. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.